Hey everybody, and welcome to my impressions video for Genesis. Now, to put it succinctly, Genesis is a freaking soap opera. I mean, really, all these stories about people having sex with each other's wives and husbands, and intense sibling rivalry, parental favoritism, incest, and murder, and worse. And God is right there in the thick of it, cheering on his personal favorite person. It's just weird. One of the things I found most interesting about Genesis, though, is the literal interpretation you can draw from it. Not so much in terms of that being appropriate or even intelligent, but in that it seems like that's the only interpretation that makes sense. I mean, these stories don't come across as moral lessons or revelations about any kind of significant truth. It just seems as they're simply meant as a history lesson. One of those weird alternate histories that science fiction writers seem to like. Anyway, now, before people start jumping down my throat, I do understand that the Bible may, to some people's minds, contain a great deal of truth. However, I've yet to encounter such an interpretation that was obvious, so it's usually an impressive feat of mental gymnastics to make the interpretation fit the actual words, or even just consistent. Like, there's contradictions in actual history that we know of, or even sometimes in the very next passage or chapter or something like that. I mean, these folks were Bronze Age authors, and it really shows. The one exception to all this, actually, is the very first verse of the Bible. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, depending on your translation. Now, as an atheist, obviously, I don't believe that that has any actual truth to it, but at least it's an attempt at explaining something real. It's a statement, the likes of which has been made by millions of people for hundreds of thousands of years, as an attempt at explaining where we come from. In other words, it's an attempted explanation of an aspect of the universe, and it represents one of our species' first attempts, that are unscientific, at a theory. As for moral lessons, Genesis really only seems to concern itself with obey God or die. I would say that has nothing to do with morality, though. It's just a command. What Genesis does do, implicitly, is to describe a culture of slavery, murder, incest, misogyny, and general fear about the natural world. And yes, that is a reflection of the culture of the time. The moral part comes along for me in that God seems cool with all of it. No problem. He doesn't try to end slavery, prevent murders, despite his one-time mention in the story of Noah that it's not good. Doesn't seem to stop him or anyone else. He doesn't object to incest or blink at misogyny. In fact, these qualities seem to be almost part of God's character, ingrained within himself, which, for atheists, supports the idea that man made God and not the other way around. Above all that, though, there are two major themes that come out of Genesis. First, women are treated worse than chattel. I mean, I've heard that women are treated badly in the Bible, but wow. They seem to be more of a plot device than anything else. They're not even people. And that's even when they have a role to play at all. I mean, while every son of the main character, and most of their sons, are named, whether they have any connection to the story beyond just that, their grandpa was involved type of thing, women are almost never named. The existence even of daughters is almost never even mentioned, except under two circumstances. One, an important boy is going to be born, and they name the mother out of convenience. Or two, somebody has to do something really, really dumb, and they don't want to pin it on a guy. Now, the second major theme here is that the character of God is really dark. I mean, not just in that he'll kill you for looking at him the wrong way, or at all, but in that he seems to enjoy and encourage blood sacrifices. I mean, human, animal, it's all good. As long as he personally doesn't object to the person or animal being killed, then it's good. I mean, he's definitely a God to be feared, and the way he commands love, it doesn't seem all that likely. I also found it interesting, actually, that the fruit of knowledge is what separates humans from God. At least that metaphor was pretty accurate. I like that one. But that's Genesis. It's an interesting start, certainly. Gives me a very particular view of creationists or literalists, and it definitely makes me curious about the rest of what I'm going to be reading in the Bible. So if you have any comments, any clarifications or questions, please post below, and I will see you after I've read Exodus. Thanks, everyone.